I never thought that I would see myself make this video. Just goes to show, some things just never get old. Hey you guys, it's MJ and welcome back to Pet Adventures again. So I am super excited about this video. This is something that I literally never thought I would make again, but I thought since this is my most viewed video that I have in my entire channel, Rat Care Basics 101, I thought that I would do it again. I usually don't really like remaking videos, but I thought that this would be kind of like a celebration in a way of celebrating all the views that I have occurred over time with my Rat Care Basics 101 video. So let's celebrate by doing it again. As you guys can see, things are different now. I look a little bit different, sort of. My style changes here and there. Kinda, sorta, and things are a little bit different from back then. I started my channel around a year ago now. I have had this channel up for a year, and some of you guys know this, but I've actually been doing YouTube since I was very young, like a very young girl. But let's celebrate Rat Care 101. Okay, so yeah, we're doing this. We're doing this. I can't, I'm not dealing with reality right now. So first off, before I tell you guys about how to take care of your ratties, if you're a new rat keeper or you've been in the hobby for a long time, either way, I am going to introduce my ratties before anything. And most of you guys probably already know them, especially the people who have been around from the start, but let's meet them again for all the new folks that haven't met them yet. Ratties, come on ratties, down this way. Come on, ratties. Okay, they're not using their brain today. Here we go. Come on, God made you guys really smart for a reason. The smartest rodents that ever lived. Except for this one. This one's definitely not smart. Oh, I know. So this is Oscar and this is Charlie. They're both boys and they're both very old boys, by the way. I have had them since the beginning of my career here on Pet Adventures. Old and when I first started my rat care video, I had a third rat named Lucky who was really old and he couldn't live with other rats, but you know, he passed away eventually. I never really made a video about it because honestly, saying goodbye in my channel was just too much of a, I don't know, too much for me to deal with, I think. I didn't want to have to say goodbye to another pet on my channel. I know some people do, but I didn't want to do that, so I didn't end up doing that. So I hope you guys like them. They're my favorite ratties. They're my two rats. I only own two rats right now, and I've actually worked with quite a lot of rats over the years in pet stores, so I do know quite a good amount about them. I'm no vet, of course, but I do know the basics of rat care. So the first thing you want to get is caging. Now, a lot of you guys see my cage, and this is the bare minimum for a rat cage. I'll put the dimensions on the screen. I don't know dimensions very well by heart, but this is like the absolute minimum that you can do for a rat. You cannot do anything smaller than this. Now, I don't want to say that I haven't given some of my pets smaller cages because I didn't have the space, but you're not supposed to do that. That's not an example that you guys should follow, but some things pop up and it's definitely not planned sometimes, but definitely the bare minimum would be a cage like this. Now, you can find tons of cages that are around this size on my Amazon shop, my Amazon shop is just things that I recommend on Amazon. So if you guys want to go check that link down below, go ahead and check it out. There's a bunch of rat cages that I recommend on there that would totally be okay, and they're the size of these cages or maybe even a little bit bigger. Now, the cage that I do recommend is the Critter Nation, the double Critter Nation. That's a great space for rats. We all know that when we first get ratties, we don't normally want to buy just 2 rats. We normally want to buy a bunch. And rats are also supposed to live together. So 2 or more is the basic rule. Of course, you're gonna wanna do more if you can. So I do recommend getting more than 2, but 2 is the absolute minimum for the amount of rats that you can get. I don't recommend putting boys and girls to live together. There are a lot of issues that can pop up with that, even if they're all fixed and everything like that. I do just recommend keeping boys with boys and girls with girls, unless you're trying to start a breeding process. If you're trying to start a breeding process, then that is different. If you're trying to be a certified like breeder or something like that, then that's of course different. But I do recommend keeping males with males and females with females. Next, moving on to food. Now, food is a very crucial and important part of keeping rats. I do see a lot of people overfeed their rats. You always want to make sure you don't overfeed. A lot of people tend to do that because rats will basically eat almost anything that you put in front of their face. But just because they do that doesn't mean you should feed them literally everything. So you do want to watch out on their weight. You don't want them to be too skinny, but nor too fat. Even I've had obese rats, you know, like Charlie and Oscar used to be really fat, and eventually I kind of got their weight a little bit down. And it's just a matter of not feeding them too much of anything. You can feed them a lot of different things, just don't feed them too much of everything. You know, make the meals really small. They don't need to be like giant meals. I mean, their stomachs are like only about that big, so you do want to make sure you don't overfeed. Now, a wide variety of food groups are in the list for eating, so I just recommend looking up what they can and can't eat. A basic rule though is they are supposed to have fruits and veggies, and they're also supposed to have a block diet along with sometimes like some like oatmeal. You can do oats and things like that. A good ratty mix at home would have to be just some dried oats are okay, with a little bit of pasta and completely sugar-free Cheerios. I love making that mix. I have made it from time to time, and it's very healthy and good for them. Just make sure you never feed too much oats, like mushy oats, because it can kind of make their tummy swell a little bit, but just a little bit is really, really good. That's a homemade mix that you can make that's really, really simple. And then you need to feed lab blocks. Lab blocks can come with the Missouri brand, or you can get the Oxbow brand. I don't recommend any other brand other than Oxbow or Missouri. Now, luckily, Oxbow used to have alfalfa. They used to have alfalfa in their mix for rat blocks, but they don't contain that anymore. They got rid of the alfalfa, and it's kind of more of a veggie block now. So that's really good. So when you go and get the rat blocks, the Missouri or the Oxbow should be good. Right now I'm using Missouri, but I've used Oxbow in the past. It's just that my rats tend to really like the Missouri better. I think Oxbow's a little bit too healthy, because it made them lose a little too much weight when I started feeding them that. I mean, I don't think it was bad for them, it's just not enough fattiness in it, I guess. When it comes to fruits and vegetables, I literally just take frozen fruits and vegetables. Sometimes I'll take fresh too, but a lot of it is usually frozen or comes in a can because it's a lot easier. There they are drinking. And I need to refill that water bottle, by the way, which I'm going to do in a minute. But yeah, just feeding canned and frozen fruits and veg is a lot easier. For instance, I have like a cocktail of fruits that I feed them, and then I'll feed them like frozen papaya and frozen green beans and peas and all these good things. And of course, you can also feed fresh. I do recommend feeding fresh as well, so keep that in mind. And there's tons of other things they can eat too. Every now and then when I want to give them like a little bit of a cheat day, I'll kind of give them like a little like tortilla chip or something, but that's very rare. You don't want to feed them things like that all the time. Now next, I want to move on to accessories in the cage and bedding. So the only bedding I have ever used is fleece. And the reason for that being is because I've actually tried using loose beddings, and any kind of loose bedding that actually contains any kind of like dust really in it has always made my rats flare up in the nose. So, you know, like if your rats get a cold or if their noses are getting irritated too much with something, they will often get this red stuff on their nose. It's something common you'll always see with rats. And it's not anything to really worry about often, but if it's happening way too much, that's a sign that something's not right in your cage. Also, if I had used like loose bedding in the past, a lot of my rats would always sneeze. Sneezing is a very bad thing. Sneezes every now and then are okay, but if you hear your rats sneezing often, that is a very bad sign. They should, a few more sneezes and you could be looking at instant respiratory infection, and then after that, there's nothing else you can do other than go to the vet. And you don't want to have to spend your money to go to the vet. You don't want to have to go pony up to go to the vet and then take care of, the respiratory infection, which can be cured. Younger rats recover from respiratory infection and mice a little bit easier than older rats and mice, but it is definitely, it's so much of a hassle, and it's just so easy to avoid by giving them something that doesn't have dust. I don't care what you guys use as long as it does not contain dust and it's not something that can in any way like really hurt them. So easiest solution is fleece. Now, you guys probably have noticed that people who keep rats in a professional way usually always use fleece. So that's why I personally use it. If you don't want to use fleece, be my guest. I'm not going to tell you how to take care of your rats, but this is how I do it, and it has always helped me. I buy fleece from Joann's Fabrics. There are probably other places you can get it too. I think you can also get it at Walmart. They'll cut some out for you at Walmart, and you can do it by the yard. So that's what I do, just letting you guys know, so don't go blaming me if something happens to your ratties. So next up would have to be accessories in the cage. There must be at least about 1 hammock per rat if you can. That sounds a little crazy, but if you can do it, that really helps. Now, if you have a bajillion rats, that's kind of a different case. You can just get as much as your cage can hold. So basically, either 1 hammock per rat, or you can do as much as your cage can hold. So my cage can only hold like 2 hammocks, maybe 3. I kind of have 3 in there technically. I have 2 big ones and then a small one. By the way, this little purple one, I don't know if you can see it, but this little purple one, I actually sell it on my website. So if you want to go get that along with the other accessories that it comes with, go ahead. Advertising, it's beautiful. But you guys can go check that out. So I do recommend getting your things from the small animal section and then the bird section. So the birds, they usually have ropes like this. You'll find hanging toys. I know. You'll find hanging rope toys like this, and then you'll find little more rope toys like this. And then I got the hammocks from the small animal section at PetSmart, I think. You guys can't really see it, but I have a little tunnel bed in there that was given to me by a subscriber. It's like down there. And just get creative with it. There's like tons of things you can do. So I recommend trying bird toys, small animal toys. Don't get them anything that was designed for like hamsters, because hamster toys are usually way too small for them. And that's basically it. That's like a general sense. I also have a corner litter box in there, also from the small animal section at PetSmart. And a lot of these things you can actually just find on Amazon. It's a lot easier that way. So go to my Amazon shop and you could find almost everything in this cage there. So there's tons of like bird toys and small animal toys and hammocks and litter boxes, and there's even fleece on Amazon if you want to go try that too. Next up is handling and size. The average rat will get about this size. This is Charlie, and he is the average size that a male rat will get. So as you can see, he's at least as long as my forearm there. And rats are really good climbers usually. Mine tend to be a little clumsy these days because they're old, but every rat's a little different with handling. Every rat has their own personality. So not every rat's gonna be perfect with handling, and some will be perfect with it. Depends on the, personalities. So, but he is an average size for a male rat. However, rats can actually get bigger than this. I've seen people with bigger rats than this. So just keep that in mind when you have rats. Some are better with handling than others. Charlie is kind of excited. So he kind of doesn't want to sit still right now. And as you guys kind of saw, I was just handling my rat by just letting him lead a little bit. I try my best to not cup him with my hands. When it comes to rats, as long as they're not like flighty or scared or anything and they're already comfortable with you, you kind of just want to hold them in the sense of just letting them walk around your arms and stay on your hands. Let them kind of roam free even when you're holding them, And rats are really good shoulder trained animals. So there's so many rats on TV that I've seen that kind of just stay on the shoulder of the person who's like being shot in the films. So they're great for training. You can teach them all kinds of tricks. My rats even know a few tricks. They know spin, and Charlie can actually fetch. He knows how to fetch like a stick. He never got to the ball part, but he knows how to fetch a stick. It does take some time though to train rats. I have also trained my cats. My cats know how to do high five. They know how to circle. They know how to sit. They know how to play dead and lay down. They know how to like beg. So there's a lot of things that I can train my rats and cats to do. Tricks are very similar. Rats, I feel like, learn faster than probably cats and dogs. That's just my experience, but yeah, they're pretty easily trained. They're easily bonded to humans. So if you're wanting something that doesn't need a lot of attention, do not get rats. Rats need a lot of attention. I don't know why, but they just do. They get attached to their owners very quickly. I can't even really be out of the house too often without feeling bad, because then my rats like obviously get depressed, And even if you're not taking them out of the cage, they need to hear human voices. They need to see interaction through the cage with them. Even if you don't have time, sorry, I'm burping a lot. That's what Inca Cola will do for you, girl. So even if you're not taking them out of the cage, try to like maybe put, as long as you trust your rat, put your fingers through the cage and kind of let them lick you, or talk to them through their cage. Even if you don't have time to go play with them, just let them know that you're around. Free time and roaming time should be done at least twice a week. You really don't want to do anything less than that. Otherwise, rats get really wound up and bored, and that's just not good. Rats are very active animals. They do need to kind of have free roam time. So at the very least, even if you have a busy schedule, you need to be making time at least twice a week for 2 hours for your rats to roam around. It doesn't matter if it's like in your room or on your bed, do what you can. Sometimes I'll bring mine out on the couch here, this couch here. So just try to make some time for that. There are foods to stick away from. You do not want to give them things with too much corn in it. And even corn is kind of okay for them. You just don't want to give them too much corn. And alfalfa is suggested to kind of stay away from ingredients. And you never ever want to give citrus to rats. They say it's just for males, but I wouldn't risk it with any kind of rat. You don't need to be giving them citrus. It's not a big deal if you don't give it to them. So I just suggest don't give citrus to your male or female rats. And please, please don't give them anything with way too much milk in it, because just like us, they are lactose intolerant. Too much dairy is not good for them. And if you're going to give them chocolate, make sure that it's pure dark chocolate, and really even that, don't give them too much of. And obviously don't be giving them like desserts and cakes and candies and sodas and like all these weird things that even we shouldn't be eating. Don't even try that. Like, don't even think about giving them super duper crazy junk food stuff. Very rarely, like maybe on Christmases, I would take a tiny piece of like my cookie or cake or whatever and slip it into the rat's cage, but that is like a few times a year. That is not very often that they get that kind of stuff. If you feed that kind of stuff to your rats on a regular basis, they're not going to be around for very much longer with you. Oh, and one other thing that I don't think I mentioned in my other rat care video, please give them purified water. Don't give them any kind of tap water. Tap water is actually bad for us too. I never drink tap water. I never put it in my coffee or in my meals. I never use tap water. So don't give them tap water. It's strictly purified water that I ever give, not just my rats, but all my animals. The only type of animal I have that ever gets like tap water is like fish, and I also put like conditioner, dechlorinators in it to make sure that it stays okay. But other than that, I never give tap water to any of my animals. And the last thing is to make sure that you give them lots of toys to chew on. They have to chew or their teeth will overgrow and they can actually die from that eventually. So just put plenty of wooden toys in their cage. You can do like little chew sticks, anything that's wooden that can keep their teeth gnawed down, do that. I have plenty of wooden toys in there that they chew on so that they're perfectly comfortable. And again, make sure you get as many accessories as you can in the cage. Do what you can, even with a slightly smaller cage like mine, put as much toys as you can in there because they definitely need that. An empty cage is just really, really sad and depressing. So that is the video today, you guys. I can't believe I did Rat Care 101 again. I got a lot of views on that video and I can't believe it. I never thought I would get that many views on any video. And I didn't really think it would be Rat Care out of all videos. I never suspected that one. But I'm glad it did. I'm glad you guys all enjoyed it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If there's anything that I might have left out, like just ask me some questions down below and I'll try to answer them. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time I make a video, and make sure that it's on all uploads and not occasional. So please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and give this video a big thumbs up, especially if you love pets and ratties. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!